everyone, so today we're going to be finally reading one of the 4 books that won in the polls in general. We're going to first start reading the one that won the Black Butler poll, which is Little Lady of Phantomhive Manor! Yay! The author is Sue Fanatic 7152. Remember, the author and the link of the story will be in the description. Let's read the summary. It was a normal day at the Phantomhive Manor until the servants find a baby on the front step. Ooh. Ooh, guys. Ooh. Oop. Before I get into it, I just want to say, yeah, I lost my voice. I regained it back, but it's not fully where it's supposed to be yet, so I sound a little weird. So I apologize in advance as I'm reading. There'll be a little coughing probably once in a while, and my coughing sounds like an absolute nightmare, like it came from Godzilla. But I promise you, I am alive and I'm well. It's just how I am coughing. You will understand what I mean when you hear it, okay? Anyways, let's get into it. Now we are officially into these warnings. So since we are gonna be reading Black Butler, there will be some little mentions here and there that, depending if you are fully in the fandom or not, you may not understand. So I'm just gonna play some here. So first warning I would say is there will be mentions of a cult thing. I'm not gonna spoil too much about Black Butler here. There will be like little children screaming and all that sort of stuff, torture, and people branding other human beings like they're worth nothing. I would say just branding them, if that makes sense. And not in no simple. It's more like I'm branding this burn thing on you. I'm gonna burn you with my branding. That's kind of what it is. And there's just be some like little flashbacks there and there. Nothing serious. And yeah, guys, that's kind of like basically all the warnings other than child abandonment. There will be child abandonment here. But anyways, if there's any other warnings that I forgot to mention to you guys, they'll be on the screen right now. You guys have been warned, and I personally watched the anime and it is amazing. Please go watch it. It'll make much more sense. Bye! Chapter 1. It was a normal day at the Phantomhive Manor. The head of the house, C.L. Phantomhive, and his butler, Sebastian Michaelis, had gone to town, leaving the servants, Marin, Finny, Bard, and Tanaka, it's been a minute since I've said his name, alone. It was a rainy day, and the servants were in the kitchen taking a nice break and enjoying some warm drinks. Suddenly, they all heard a loud knock at the front door that made them all jump. Who'd be at the door in this weather? Bard asked. I'll get it, Finny happily said, getting up and heading for the entrance hall. He opened the door with a bright smile. Hello? Finny was confused when he saw no one there. Hello? He said again. That's weird. I could have sworn we heard. Finny was cut off when he heard weak whimpering. He looked down, and his eyes widened when he saw a whimpering baby completely soaked and covered with nothing but a rag and a dirty blanket. Finny? Marin said as she came towards the door. Who is it? Finny remained silent and frozen. Finny? Marin followed Finny's gaze and looked down. Oh my goodness! She exclaimed, kneeling down and picking up the baby. You poor thing! The baby's crying started to increase. Come on, Finny, Marin explained, dragging Finny back to the kitchen. We gotta help this little one. Marin and Finny rushed into the kitchen, startling Bard and Tanaka. Hey, what's with the big rush? Bard said in surprise. No time to explain. Marin said, we need hot water, a large bowl, and a pitcher. What? Bard said, only getting more confused when he noticed the baby crying in Marin's arms. Finny started but stopped as when he saw a bowl, pitcher, and water were already on the counter. Tanaka. I'm so sorry, it's funny. Tanaka said with a silly smile. Thanks, Tanaka, Marin said as she poured some of the hot water into the bowl. She unwrapped the tattered blanket from around the baby and placed it in the bowl. All right, Marin said as she grabbed some soap. It's okay now. The baby was quiet as Marin cleaned it. Finny and Bard watched intently. Oh dear, Marin said as she saw the baby's back. Who would do this? What's wrong? Bard asked as he, Finny, and Tanaka came forward. Someone branded her, Marin said in disbelief. They all gasped when they saw a burn in her back in the shape of two serpents twisted around one another. I believe I know what this branding is. Hold up. Okay, so I just looked it up, and it may either be this one or this one, the exact one that CL has on his side. There are some other ones, variations here, but at least we kind of got an idea what we might or might not have. Anyway, how awful, Finny said with a few small tears in his eyes. He placed his hand gently over the brand mark, then rubbed the back off his neck with that horrible code that was printed on his neck. Oh, okay, I see now. Well, I think she's clean now, Marin said, trying to change the subject. We should get her out and dry her before she gets cold. Marin took the baby out of the bowl and started to dry her off with a towel. Wait a minute, Barb suddenly said. Huh? Finny and Marin was questioned. What's the lass supposed to wear? Bard asked. It's not like we have diapers or baby clothing lying around here. Oh, I didn't think about that, Marin said in a slight alarm. She'll catch a cold if she isn't clothed. Allow me, Tanaka said, appearing in his normal form and holding two pieces of cloth. Marin, Bard, and Finny watched as Tanaka laid the baby down and folded the cloth this way and that. There we go, Tanaka said before turning around to show a diapered and swaddled baby. Tanaka, that's amazing, Finny said as Marin took the baby from Tanaka's hands. Where'd you learn how to do that? Bard asked. Who do you think took care of the young master when his parents couldn't? Tanaka said with a small chuckle. They all looked at the baby as she yawned and started to drift off to sleep. I have to admit, she is rather cute, Bard said with a soft smile. I wonder why anyone would just leave her on the doorstep, Finny said. They were all broken from their thoughts when the sound of horses neighing and wood creaking. It's the carriage, Marin exclaimed in panic. The young master and Sebastian are back. I can't imagine just coming home and just being like, hey guys, what's up? We found a baby, huh? What? I can't imagine I can't. That's sad but hilarious at the same time. Anyway, Chapter 2. The servants all panicked at the familiar sound of the carriage arriving. What do we do? Finny asked. There is no way the young master or Sebastian would be happy to see a baby in the kitchen. We gotta hide her. Marin panicked as she ran around. They all heard the front door open and the sound of footsteps. Quick, put her in here, Bart said, opening a lowered cupboard. Marin quickly placed the baby down in the cupboard and closed it. They all stood in front of it just in case CL and Sebastian appeared in the doorway. What did you do? I cannot with my life. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me breathe. What did you do? Sebastian asked in an annoyed tone. What? Nothing, Bard said. We were just having a nice break in the kitchen. Yes, we were, Marin said. Nothing wrong with good old friends sharing some hot drinks on a rainy day, Finny said. You all seem rather nervous. So sorry, it's fucking hilarious. Seal said, raising an... Sorry. Girl! Okay. Seal said, raising a brow, like you're hiding something. Hiding something? Bard nervously said. What could we possibly have to hide from you? So I just spent 5 minutes trying to figure out how to properly say Bard's name, and I might be saying it wrong, so if you guys are really annoyed that I'm saying it wrong, or if I'm saying it wrong, and I am, send me a link to a video that properly helped me pronounce his name. Please and thank you, because it's not showing up. Anyways, yeah. Hiding something, Bard nervously said. What could we possibly have to hide from you? I can't help but notice that you're all standing in front of that small cupboard. Sebastian said, I wonder why. Just huddling together like friends, Marion nervously replied. Oh? Sebastian said, then you won't mind if I look inside. Don't! No, bro, it's so... I'm sorry, it's too funny. Ah! I'm about to break. I'm about to die here. Okay. Don't! All the servants exclaimed. Ciel and Sebastian were both shocked at the outburst, and the servants covered their mouths. Suddenly, everyone could hear a faint sound coming from the cupboard. Open it, Sebastian. Like, there has to be something weird as fuck in there. Ciel said, whoo, let my breathing get out of control. Yes, young master. Sebastian said as he opened the cupboard. There, the baby was whimpering. Sebastian raised a brow in slight confusion. Out of all the things for them to hide, he never would have imagined this. He reached for the baby when suddenly she interrupted into a fit of wails. Ciel covered his ears in annoyance as the other servants quickly picked up the baby and tried to comfort her. What is the meaning of this? Ciel yelled over the crying. We're sorry, young master. Oh, shit. Finney said, getting on his knees in front of Ciel. Someone left her out at the front door, and we just couldn't leave her out in the cold. Ciel groaned as the racket continued, and the servants tried to calm the crying baby. We should take her to the orphanage? Should we take her to the orphanage? Sebastian asked in a whisper. No, Ciel said. Not today, at least. It's too late at the night to go there. The weather doesn't help either. Very well, Sebastian said. The crying still continued, and nothing was calming down the baby. Ciel couldn't take it anymore. Sebastian, make that brat stop crying. As you wish. Sebastian said. He walked over to the servants and took the baby out of Marion's hands. The baby only cried more, being in Sebastian's hold. Sebastian turned and walked to Ciel. Ciel was confused on what Sebastian was doing until the bundle was shoved into his arms. What are you doing? Ciel explained in surprise. You're the only one who hasn't tried. Sebastian said with a smirk. Maybe she'll listen to you. Ciel sent a glance at Sebastian in annoyance and groaned. He uncomfortably held the baby out away from him at arm's length. The baby's crying gone down slightly after realizing someone else was in the room. She looked at Ciel in curiosity for a moment before reaching her hands out towards his face. She seems to like you, Sebastian said with a chuckle. Quiet, you. I cannot, guys. I cannot with my life right now. Quiet, you. Ciel said with a scowl. That's no way to hold a baby, Sebastian said. You must make it feel secure. Ciel growled slightly and sent a look that said, I hate you so much right now. He listened anyway and brought the baby to his chest and held her like he was supposed to. The servants awed a little at the scene. She is so not staying, Ciel said in his head. Little did he know. We are in chapter 3. Alright, that's enough, Ciel said, shoving the baby back into Mayren's arms. Seeing as the weather and time leaves us no choice, she'll have to stay for the night. Stay the night? Finney asked. You mean we're not keeping her? Of course not, Ciel said. We're taking her to the orphanage first thing in the morning. But master, Finney said, clasping his hands together and making puppy eyes. Please, can't we keep her? She's just so adorable and helpless. No. Ciel said firmly, she's going to the orphanage tomorrow, and that is my final word in the matter. The servants didn't argue as Ciel turned and left the kitchen. The servants sighed. I knew master wouldn't let her stay, Bard said. There's no helping it, Maren said. We should get her fed and into bed. What are we supposed to feed her? Finney asked. Honestly, Sebastian said, rolling his eyes and approaching the other servants with a bottle. She's only a few weeks old. She should still only be able to drink milk. Oh, The servant said as Manor took the bottle and began to feed the baby. I must be off to attend the master, Sebastian said, heading for the door. I trust the three of you all can look after the child without fault. Yes, sir, the servant said, and with that Sebastian left. He should not have trusted them. The servants looked down at the baby to see she was whimpering again. Do you think she's... Bart started to say. He was cut off by a loud wail. Hours passed and the crying still didn't cease. CL covered his head with his pillow in annoyance and groaned. How hard is it? CL... I'm sorry. CL... I cannot with my life. I'm sorry, it's hard not having a reaction, right? CL said, sitting up with a slight growl. He got out of bed and put on his robe before walking to the servants' quarters. Could you keep it down? CL yelled as he slammed open the door. We're sorry, young master. Yes, we are, Marian explained. We've tried everything, Finney explained. The lily lady just won't stop crying, Bart said, rubbing his bloodshot eyes. CL pinched the bridge of his nose in annoyance. Young master, why don't you try holding her again? Marian said, it worked last time. Fine. CL said, anything to end this racket. Marian placed the baby in CL's arms. The baby looked up at CL and sniffled a few more times before snuggling into his robe. She really likes you, master, Finney said. Whatever. CL said with a small blush, just go to bed. I'll take care of this. Okay. The servants said, heading for their beds. CL sighed and looked down at the baby that was now cuddling into his robe. There's no helping it. CL said, heading for his room. After arriving, he took off his robe. He took off his robe and sat down on his bed. He held the baby against his chest as he pulled back the covers and laid down. He noticed that she had fallen asleep and was snuggling into him. Just tonight, he said, closing his eyes and drifting off to sleep. That is so cute. Sorry, that's too cute, guys. Chapter 4. CL stirred slightly in his sleep when the sunlight hit his eyelids. He groaned slightly at the wake-up call. Young master, it's time to get up, Sebastian said, tying the curtains back into place. I trust you slept well with your little friend. CL was confused for a moment before looking down. The baby girl was still laying next to him and clinging to his nightshirt. You two seem rather close, Sebastian said with a smirk. I'd almost think you'd want to keep her. Quiet, you. I love this so much, bro. I'm like, a word? I don't know. Quiet, you. CL said with a snarl. She was crying all night. This is the only way to get her to stop so I could sleep. Whatever you say, Sebastian said. Suddenly, the baby started to wake up. She let out a small whine and a yawn as she still clung to CL. She started to pull at his shirt, trying to pull it down and nudge her head towards his chest. What are you doing? CL said in alarm. You know she can't answer you, Sebastian said, as he prepared something on the tray he had rolled in. She's likely hungry and was expecting some milk from you. Shut up, CL explained as his face turned red. I'm not even a girl. Seems you fooled her, Sebastian said with a shrug. He turned around and held out a bottle filled with milk. This'll do for a substitute, he said, as he shoved the bottle in CL's hands. What are you doing? CL asked. Well, she evidently is too intimidated by me to let me feed her, Sebastian said, and you're the only one here. CL groaned again as Sebastian sent him a teasing smirk. Fine. CL placing the baby in his arms and bringing the bottle to her mouth. She grabbed a hold and instantly began drinking. Aww, Sebastian said in a mocking tone, just like a mommy. Shut it, CL said, feeling more embarrassed by the second. He couldn't wait to get rid of this kid and be taken seriously again. Once the baby finished her bottle, Sebastian placed the empty container back onto the tray. He turned to face them with a small outfit in his hands. Where'd you get that? CL asked. Just a little something I threw together last night, Sebastian said. I figured we could give her the lady some proper clothes before sending her off. The baby was a little fussy as Sebastian tried to change her, but he was eventually able to get her nightgown off. His eyes widened for a split second. My, isn't that interesting? Sebastian said. What? Ciel asked. This mark on her back looks very familiar, don't you think? Sebastian said. Ciel was confused by what Sebastian said meant until he looked at the baby's back. His eyes widened in fear. He could hear the screams echoing in his head and haunting images returning to his mind. Then some of the screams were replaced with higher-pitched ones. The child in the images were replaced by someone who looked even more helpless as tears escaped her eyes and a red iron was placed on her back. Young master, are you okay? Sebastian asked. Yes, Ciel said, snapping out of his thoughts. Let's just get this. Let's just move this along. The sooner we get her to the orphanage, the better. As you say, Sebastian said as he dressed the baby in a simple, light blue dress. Sebastian then went over to Ciel to dress him for the day. He slipped off Ciel's nightshirt, revealing his branded mark. The baby took notice of the mark on Ciel's back and moved towards him without him or Sebastian noticing. Ciel stiffened when he suddenly felt something touching his back where his mark was. He turned his head to see the baby placing one of her hands on his mark and staring at it. After a moment, she suddenly hugged him on that spot. Ciel was frozen. Are you sure everything's all right? Sebastian asked with another smirk. You seem rather off this morning. Be quiet. Ciel said, just move this along so we can leave. Yes, young master. I cannot say that at all. Sebastian said as he quickly finished prepping Ciel for the day. Ciel held the baby as Sebastian placed his hat and coat on him. He grabbed his cane and headed for the front door with Sebastian in tow. Young master, please wait, Ciel heard. The servants came rushing into the entrance hall. Please reconsider. Can't she stay with us? I've already given my word on the matter. Ciel said, she's going to the orphanage. He turned away from them and continued out the front door into the carriage. Do watch after the place while we're gone, Sebastian said, walking out and ignoring the sad looks on the servants' faces. Ciel cracked the whip and the carriage was off, heading for the orphanage. We is in chapter 5. Ciel looked down at the baby girl in his arms as the carriage took off. She was smiling and playing with Ciel's free hand. She giggled a little and hugged his hand close. She looked so innocent, so unaware of the cruelties of the world. She didn't even seem to understand the torture she had been put through. She didn't understand that she would most likely never see her real parents again. A light went off in Ciel's mind as thoughts suddenly occurred to him. What would happen to her at the orphanage? Would she be treated kindly or be abused? Would she ever get adopted or live her whole life in such a detritus place? What about the colt? She could only be a couple weeks old, meaning that her mark on her back could only be so old. Would she be safe at the orphanage? Would they come looking for her? Would she be forced in that terrible fate again? Even if she did escape? What if she turned out like him? Ciel felt himself stiffen at the last thought. His experiences in life may not have been completely wiped out of his kindness, but he definitely changed. He became cold and distant, even to those he held dear. There were plenty of days where it would feel impossible to summon up a small smile, even a fake one. What if she became the same? What if she was never adopted, and if she was bullied, harassed, or abused? Would she too become filled with bitter hurt and betrayal? Ciel was snapped out of his thoughts when he suddenly felt something warm on his face. He saw the baby was placing her small hands on his cheeks and wiping something away. Tears. He hadn't even been noticed that he had let tears fall from his eyes. He never cried, not in front of anyone. The baby looked at him with concern in her eyes before placing her hand tenderly under his cheek, on his cheek under the eye patch. Ciel just couldn't imagine such innocence being ruined, such purity being tainted. When he got out, he at least had Sebastian. This girl would have nothing. She had no support or potentially no hope ever recovering. But CL thought for a moment. What if she did have someone? Someone who would understand and could relate what they've been through such similar fates. CL realized that now. If she would ever recover from this premature trauma, he'd have to help her. CL tightened his hold on the child before sticking his head out the window. Sebastian stopped the carriage. CL said, "Is something wrong?" Sebastian asked as he made the horses come to a stop. "Change in plans." CL said, "We're heading into town." "My lord?" Sebastian asked with a raised brow. "We're keeping this child." So CL said, looking down at the baby that was snuggling him. And that is on period. Okay, chapter 6. CL and Sebastian went into town and bought everything they would need for their new addition. The baby had fallen asleep and was cuddling into CL's shoulder. CL couldn't stop himself from petting her head slightly. "So what do we call her?" Sebastian suddenly asked. "What?" CL asked. "The child." Sebastian said, "We can't just keep calling her the baby, can we?" "Right." CL looked down at the baby again. A name for her. CL thought. After a while, Sebastian and CL had gotten everything they needed and were heading back to the manor. Meanwhile, the servants were all moping around, thinking of the little lady they may never see again. "Master's sure been gone for a long time," Finney said. "You think maybe he's changed his mind?" "I wouldn't bet on it," Bard said. "The master's not known for changing his mind." "Maybe it's for the best," Mayrin said. Before any of them could say anything else, they heard the front door of the manors open. They all quickly entered the entrance hall to greet CL and Sebastian. "Welcome back," they said, all bowing their heads in respect. "Hello." "No!" Sebastian said with a small smirk. The servants all looked up and were surprised by what they saw. Sebastian was carrying several boxes of baby supplies into the manor. CL had the baby girl in his arms, and she was drinking from her bottle, which CL held for her. "What?" CL said as he noticed all the servants were staring at him. "Master, we thought you were..." Fiddy tried to say, "We thought you were getting rid of her." Mary Wren cut in. "Can't a person change their mind?" CL said, looking back down at the baby as she finished her bottle. Bard felt his jaw drop to the ground. "Come along now, young master," Sebastian said. "Oh, Lord," Sebastian said, appearing at the top of the main staircase. "We should start on your lessons." CL sighed, but headed towards the stairs anyways. "Wait, young master," Finney suddenly called. "What?" CL said, turning around. "What's her name?" Finney asked. CL was quiet for a moment as he looked down once more at the child that smiled up at him. "Angelina." "Interesting," CL quietly said. "Her name is Angelina." He turned back around and continued up the stairs towards his study, leaving his servants still in slight shock. The way Bard just really said, "What?" And that's the funniest thing ever. Alright, last chapter, okay? Chapter 7. Hold on, let me take a little drink. Okay. CL walked into his study, still holding the baby, now known as Angelina, in his arms. Sebastian followed after, and a smirk was present on his face. "What?" CL said, noticing Sebastian's look as he sat at his desk. "Angelina?" Sebastian said, "My, what an interesting name. I wonder where you got that idea for it." "Be quiet," CL said, directing his attention back to Angelina as she looked up at him with a smile. "Now, about your lessons," Sebastian said. "What is it this time?" CL sounded slightly annoyed. "History? Violin? Dancing?" "No, my lord," Sebastian replied. "I don't mean those kind of lessons." "What?" Sebastian said, looking away from Angelina. "What are you talking about, then?" "My, taking care of a young child," Sebastian said, gesturing towards Angelina. "Caring for a young baby is no easy task. You must be able to do certain tasks in order to properly take care of her." CL sighed a little. He knew raising a child would require work and for him to be able to do certain tasks, but he didn't think Sebastian would go about it like this. "What's first?" CL asked with slight hesitance. "We shall start with something simple," Sebastian said, walking forward. "Dressing." He held out a dark blue dress they had gotten in town and laid it on his desk. Simply change your clothes. Fine, CL said, rolling his eyes a little. How inept did Sebastian think he was? Like, he couldn't change a baby's clothes. Well, CL, you don't really change your own clothes, so I can kind of understand where his ineptness come from. where he thinks you're a little inept, but it is what it is. Anyways, CL placed Angelina on his desk. He took a hold of one of the small dress she had on and slipped it off. She didn't fight him like she did with Sebastian. She giggled a little as CL pulled the other dress over her head. CL felt a small smile grace his lips as Angelina giggled. Blue is really your color, CL said, placing his hand on Angelina's head. She giggled again and hugged his hand. Very well done, my lord, Sebastian said. I don't see why that lesson was necessary. CL said, it's clearly an easy task. Well, the first lesson is always the easiest, Sebastian said with a small smirk. But now we should move on to the next one. He placed some cloth and powder on the desk, changing a diaper. CL groaned slightly at that. He knew it was something he'd have to do eventually, especially with Angelina being so scared of Sebastian. But he didn't think it'd be up right now. First, lay the baby on her back, Sebastian said. CL did so. Push her skirt up for easier access. CL did so again. Now remove the diaper she's currently wearing. CL gulped a little. This felt weird for him. It didn't feel completely right, but he did it anyway. Now, gently lift her bottom so you can scoot the diaper out from under her bottom. Sebastian continued to instruct. CL did, despite feeling uncomfortable. Use wipes to clean the baby's diaper region. Sebastian placed the wipes on the desk. CL gulped again and did as Sebastian said. He looked away and tried to think of anything but the half-naked baby in front of him. Always wipe from front to back to avoid infection, Sebastian added. If the area is ever red or inflamed, soothe it with a diaper ointment. Sebastian placed a jar of stuff on the desk. Wait for her skin to dry before putting on a fresh diaper. Sebastian continued, finding enjoyment in CL's uneasiness. Now, take a fresh diaper and place it under your baby. Bring the front part up on the baby's stomach and fasten the tabs to secure the diaper on her waist. CL quickly did so, just wanting Angelina to be clothed again. Excellent, my lord, Sebastian said. You got it all right on your first try. It usually takes a couple tries to get it right. It's like you were born to do this. Quiet, you, CL said, still feeling embarrassed. Angelina giggled and reached towards CL. He got the message and picked her up. She snuggled into his shoulder again and started to doze off. You make a fine mommy, my lord, Sebastian said with a smirk. Stop calling me a mommy, CL said in embarrassment and annoyance. Sebastian just chuckled as he stepped out of the study for a moment. He returned a minute later with some information. He explained important things for CL to know, like teething, when she start eating solid food, and when she should start crawling, walking, and speaking. The whole time, CL just kept looking at Angelina as she slept and cuddled his shoulder. He knew taking care of her wouldn't be easy, but he somehow knew it would all be worth it. Isn't that just so cute? That is so cute. So, not trying to read any more of this because my throat is like killing me. Did you guys expect that? That CL would just randomly adopt a baby? Well, you know what I mean, a baby? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Do you think Elizabeth will take well to the news? Let me know in the comments down below. Sorry again, guys. I apologize for sounding like this. I had no voice for like a whole day, and then a little bit of a voice the second day. It's just been a nightmare, guys. For real, it has. So thank goodness I got my voice back. Because I was like, as soon as I got my voice back, I quickly started recording. It really be like that, guys. Anywho, I hope you guys did enjoy it, though. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. And if you guys have any suggestions for any future stories, let me know in the comments down below. I won't be able to do any at this time, but I will definitely save them for future reference. Don't you worry. I really do. When I say that, I actually really do. I screenshot it or find it and save it in a special playlist thing. So yeah, y'all would be surprised. Anyways, your girls gotta go. Bye and peace, y'all. And